we're typically looking at about a 2.5 to a 3.5% absorption per month. So if I have a 1,000-unit facility, every month I'm assuming that 2.5 to 3.5% of those units will be leased up. To get granular, I know this shows all about the numbers. What we'll measure inside of that trade area are two things, and we'll weight them differently. So the first is called the supply index number. That is the total amount of net rentable square footage offered in that trade area divided by the per capita, or the number of people in that trade area. So typically we want to see somewhere below 7 square feet per person in that area. Around 7 is where we start to see that the market is somewhat stabilized. But there is a caveat to that. The second part of this equation is looking at the competitors. If all the competitors are at 90+% occupied, that means that there is a good chance that that market is undersupplied. So you can go into a market that is, say, growing extremely fast and find supply index numbers that are in the 10 or 11 or 12, like you see in Florida. I've been looking at deals down in Florida where the supply index is 18, 19, 20 square feet per person. But that's because the markets are growing so fast that they can't even keep up with the amount of population moving into that market. So what we typically do is we'll give a 30 to 40% weighting on the supply index number. And then we'll give a 60 to 70% rating on the competitor, what rates the competitor are charging, and then what their occupancy is. And if we can come into that market, fill that hole, charge at competitor pricing or just below, then that's going to be a good deal for us.
Yeah, it's funny you mentioned that, and this is anecdotal only. In Englewood, Florida, there are 3 storage facilities within a 2-mile radius of where our place is. And I called one that had been open for just a year, and they had a waiting list just to get a unit there. And like I said, there's 3 within really bicycle distance and they're already full.
And that's a really good sign. So when we project our lease up metrics, we're typically looking at about a 2.5 to a 3.5% absorption per month. So if I have a 1,000-unit facility, every month I'm assuming that 2.5 to 3.5% of those units will be leased up, which typically means that for me to go from 0 to 90% occupied, it's going to take me 24 to 36 months. So if you go into markets where guys are having wait lists and are completely full within 1 year, that's a sign to say, hey, I need to go build in this market because there is so much pent up demand.